Hi guys, welcome to the latest episode of Cricket Draft Insight. I just wanted to do a bit of a World Cup catch-up. I didn't want to do a World Cup video too soon. I thought I'd allow the competition to sort of happen a bit. I also did reasonably well to start with, so I didn't want to be sat here saying, oh hi, I'm in 10th place, just to plummet thousands of places. But I have started dropping down the table, so normality is restored. I had a really good second week, I think it was. I got about 2,000 points. I had two batters and a wicket keeper score a century. I had a 5-wicket haul and a 4-wicket haul. And yeah, propelled me as high as 10th place. And I haven't done anywhere near as great for the last couple of weeks. I've done okay, but I've actually managed to retain like a really respectable position for a while, up in the top 50, which I was surprised about because I thought the movement would be quite volatile. But some of what you guys have said on Twitter it sounds like some people have been saying, "Oh, I really have been struggling. It's been my worst competition. Just haven't been able to get things right," which has surprised me in a way because I've seen people say, "Well, I've got Rohit Sharma and he's captain. He's good, 100 etc." The cock Klassen, I feel like a Harmer moment. I'm like, why don't I have Heinrich Klassen? But clearly a few people have been struggling. It sounds like people are having better weeks this week. But I think I just did so well in week two that it gave me and maybe some other people near the top just quite a buffer because I scored 2,000 points when I think the average was 1,000. So even though I didn't quite back that up, it just managed to, like I say, give me a bit of a buffer, keep me reasonably high up the table. But it seems like people are clocking up points this week, and I've dropped to about 158th at the moment. I had a few players in the South Africa Bangladesh game, but they did so. Australia playing today. Don't be fooled if this colour is giving any Australian vibes. Just random t-shirt. Got Glenn Maxwell's captain, who's done all right with the ball. He got a golden duck. I nearly tweeted about that the last game when I saw it going in at 3. I was like, this has got golden duck written all over it, and it did. So that didn't work out, but captain obviously has a massive effect. So a few people captained the cock and obviously scored that was it 174 or something like that. I really could do for a boost this week if Maxwell could come up with something. That would be really helpful. And then we're going to be about halfway through the group stages. I know there's been a lot of chat about the structure. It's just sort of one league, isn't it? Jeopardy. Maybe not close matches. The future of one-day internationals. We'll see what happens. I'll go slightly out of order in this video. I was also sort of looking ahead to the T20 World Cup. I think that's in USA next year. I hope Cricket Draft will do a game for that. I'd love to be able to pick players from Papua New Guinea and Canada. I was trolling some scorecards last night. So that'd be really great. And actually, just thinking ahead to the county championship, I know we're immersed in the World Cup and we're really enjoying this. The rapidity with which the points sort of update and change during the white ball games is really exciting. But I think a lot of people see the county championship as being like the main game, the main challenge. And I think that's really great that Cricket Draft have helped, created that. There's been lots of people playing that game and they've already tweeted a few times. I'm thinking, obviously I'm keen, but I'm trying to like put that to one side a bit. It's 6 months away, yeah, but I've got my team. I've got my team in my head, and I know a lot of people, obviously looking forward to that. Completely forgotten where I was going with that, but yeah, that'll be really interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see if prices of a few players and one or two, the likes of Josh De Cares, will he be an all-rounder? But anyway, plenty of time for that. It's been noticeable. There's been a few comments. I've mentioned hopefully, the World Cup. There's more people playing the game, new people playing the game. Maybe the people commenting, been playing Cricket Draft from the start. But I've seen one or two comments about, the value of vice captain, which touched upon before. And somebody was talking about transfers, and I think they were suggesting they wanted just like unlimited free transfers between the games. And it's interesting to see the opposite opinions people have. Because I know some people have previously told me we get 5 transfers, 2 are free, minus 50 for free isn't enough of a deterrent. Yet then you've got people saying, hold on, I want more free transfers. And I think the suggestion was that there's one or two other platforms out there where maybe like you have 100 transfers for the tournament and you can use them at your will. I think I quite like how cricket draft have it structured at the moment. Um, that risk. I know we're not all going to end up with the same team, but I think it's reasonable how it's set up at the moment in terms of some flexibility for us, but a bit of a challenge not being able all just to change our team. Obviously, in the county championship, you had the option about halfway to do like a reset, and I know Cricket Draft had previously mentioned they were describing it as a free hit, which I think was kind of what that was. But I think there was maybe the potential that they were going to have it like you could choose when to have it, and I must admit, I think that wouldn't be a bad idea in the county championship if that opportunity to have 7, 9, or however many free transfers. Maybe rather than having it at the halfway stage, maybe allow people to have it when they want, if that was possible. Because maybe some people get 2 weeks into the season and they're like, oh, I'm doing rubbish. I can't change it. Like me, it did take me a few weeks. I was there and I was trying to make 2 transfers at a time. And I hadn't done very well initially. And I couldn't get my team how I wanted. Not to my fault, I picked a bad team. But I managed to get a good team at the halfway stage. Obviously, once I'd seen how players were performing, and that will probably form the basis of my team next season. But maybe some people get a couple of weeks in and they're like, oh, I'm not doing very well, I've lost interest. So maybe giving them the opportunity to make those wholesale changes even after 2 weeks. And obviously, if you use it then and you blow it, lose interest later, well, okay, nothing we can do. But, it's interesting, obviously, to get different opinions. I know there was some people talking about the catches with the wicket keepers, because I think as Klassen primarily been keeping wicket for South Africa, and obviously if you put Quinton de Kock as your wicket keeper. But we touched upon this before. I think it was a bit of a cheat in the county championship, and I did it myself in the end. So I had Finlay Bean as a wicket keeper. Now I don't know if Finlay Bean has kept wicket. He played for York, club cricket or whatever. But again, interesting the contrasting opinions, because I was very much of the attitude, I want a wicket keeper, I want dismissals, and I tried to do that in this game. I think Kusal Mendes kept wicket and he didn't, and then I had Mushrika Rahim, who was taking 2 catches in 5 games. But I got the impression in the county championship, a lot of people kind of weren't fussed by catches and some things. They would have rather had just an extra batter as such, and if somebody like Finlay Bean, who was listed as a wicket keeper, wasn't really keeping wicket, well, they put him as a batter and they pick 3 batters and maybe even a 4th batter in the all-rounder 1 slot, which is another thing. I could start talking about many things in this video. I wondered about automatic, when you have your subs, so you can have a batter or an all-rounder come into all-rounder 1 slot and a bowler or all-rounder come into all-rounder 4. But the all-rounder, say the all-rounder in 3. This is why I always have a sub in every position, and I know it comes back as per usual. I say whether or not you can get it to your phone, but like say all-rounder 3 didn't play and he didn't have an all-rounder, your all-rounder 4 doesn't automatically shuffle to 3 or 1 to 2 to allow a bowler to come in. Cricket Draft seem quite generous in terms of, okay, your captain doesn't play, you've got a vice captain. Okay, your vice captain doesn't play, your next highest player gets the point. I just wondered if they wondered about automatic shuffling. I think I'm right in what I'm saying. Automatic shuffling of the all-rounders in 1-4 into 3 and 2, but I'm completely digressing here. But either way, World Cup game, county championship game, lots to look forward to. I don't know what will happen after this World Cup, if we'll have to get by with other interest outside of cricket. I'm not really expecting a big bash or ram slam game or whatever. But it's been great to have the World Cup, hasn't it? And I know people enjoying it, and as per usual, just really nice to communicate with people on Twitter. Look, I hold my hands up. I haven't got Sky TV or anything. I haven't really seen much. I've seen a few sort of highlights. That's why I really enjoyed seeing Kusal Mendes. It's amazing how these players become mean a lot to us. Obviously, maybe support your team. Your players, and then Kusal Mendes, what I really liked, okay, just highlights package, but I liked his style. It's great. I enjoy just following scorecards, names and numbers. But obviously, it's great to actually see some cricket. What I really enjoyed this year was, some cricket being on YouTube, etc., and being able to watch it. The One Day Cup, of course. We talk about 50 over cricket, to watch that one-day cup final and be kind of invested in it from a cricket draft perspective was fantastic. And just in general, if you just rocked up and watched, I might have said this before, but you just watched the last half hour of the one-day cup final, would it have meant anything to you? Would you have got it? And that's the thing about 50 over cricket. You remember the World Cup final 2019, and obviously not all matches pan out. I can find a one-sided match reasonably entertaining, although I don't necessarily want to watch the IPL. But then maybe if there was cricket draft. But anyway, I mean, there'll be enough clashes next year with County Championship, T20 World Cup. But anyway, where was I going? Where was I going with this? 50 over game. I feel like you do kind of have to watch it all. Like you won't watch a film 2 hours long. You don't just watch the last half hour, do you? You kind of do have to watch the whole thing. That's how 50 over cricket works. And just talking about the players, I tweeted yesterday. I'm sorry, I know I'm going off in 1,000 directions here, but Graham Clark, Graham Clark means something to me. I just got a hunch. Seen that he'd done well in the One Day Cup a few years ago. Got a hunch last year because he was playing on the pre-season tour. And I picked him. I know he was on the bench all the time, but he was in all my squads. He seems a really popular player, done really well, signed a new contract. If I bumped into Graham Clark in the street, I'd want to say, oh, Graham, well done, mate. You were in all my cricket draft teams. Thanks a lot. You scored a load of runs. Same again next season. Rob Keogh is one. I didn't take a load of wickets, but again, I talk about scorecards, names, numbers, but I do like his style as well. And like I said, Ryan Higgins, Ben Code, and you just start to appreciate all these players, don't you? And I really do think the strength and depth of players in English cricket is fantastic. When you look at the England Lions squad, De Cares, Laws, and I mentioned, so Bohannon is in, who is 25, 26. They haven't picked Carlson. I tried to do a little Medium article. I know he played in Zimbabwe last year. Sam Cook, I think he's playing some T10. Ben Code, Rob Keogh. These are good players to not have any form of recognition. And I just think England, if we had a second test team, maybe one day team, or even T20 teams, when you think that players like Benny Howell don't get a look in, Tom Smith, we could have, I think, even though our international team might be struggling right now, I think we could have a second or third very good team. And then, of course, population, etc. Anyway, just a few random thoughts. Haven't spoken for a while. Thought I'd get another video out there. So I do hope you're enjoying the World Cup game. Hope the game goes well. Today, Seibrand Engelbrecht. I saw Seibrand Engelbrecht, again at the risk of just going off on a tangent. On cricket, I used to follow the scorecards and the text commentary on Cricinfo. I always found that very good. And I moved to the BBC because I find the BBC scorecards, I know Cricket Draft had the discs and everything, but I like to flick through the scorecards, 10:45. It's very flick-throughable, just to click on the score, look at who's playing, go back, very flick-throughable. I noticed on Cricinfo the other day, and I've noticed this a bit, one or two things, obviously being on Twitter, I expect professional sites and companies to be professional, and on Cricinfo, they'd written Seibrand Engelbrecht as Seibrand, and somebody was criticising. It's like calling me Paul. You'd put Morris was batting, but they put Seibrand, and somebody was querying this, and Cricinfo were just yeah. I was like, well, actually, the person's right. His surname is Engelbrecht. Obviously, they have different naming customs around the world. Anyway, going off on one, but he scored some runs, didn't he? He's a fascinating story. He's on my bench, of course, scoring 70 odd, isn't he? He's the Graham Clark of the One Day World Cup. Yeah, anyway, Glenn Maxwell, 35 ball, 100, 5 wicket haul, caught and bowled, 5 maidens today is all I ask. So yeah, hope you're enjoying it. Any thoughts, any chat you want to have about cricket draft or anything else in life if you're struggling? But I'm not an agony aunt, am I? But yeah, my word, this video it's only a quick video. It's 15 minutes. I hope not to spend all day editing it. Thank you very much for watching. If you do watch, my videos get about 10 views each, half of those are me. All right, how's that?